I think I thought about this when O.C. Smith, my friend, died. I thought about how many lives he had touched. And then after that, I started thinking about how many lives we've touched. Frank Wess has touched millions of lives. We don't even realize this, but when people hear our music, you're touching their lives. And when you stop to think about that, I know this is not a thing for Frank Wess, but I was just, to me, a lot of times I've been with Frank, and I remember Frank being in the Army way back, Josephine Baker days, all those days and stuff. And when you start adding up how many lives they've affected, oh man, I mean, it's really overwhelming, millions. And for me to think I know somebody who's touched 1 million lives, all of a sudden.
Like Billy Taylor, I went to high school with him, you know, and he was a disc jockey in his own home. He had Powell's of 78s that high. And I'd go up to his house and he said, listen to this, listen to that. And, you know, he told me what to listen to, and he was playing then, you know.
Right. So.
And so he helped me with learning tunes and all that, you know.
Yeah.
So
it's like a ripple effect. He touched your life, and then you touch.
Well, he's been doing what he's doing for, you know, ever since I've known him, you know. When I was 13, I was in high school. And that was in 1935. And that's when I met Billy Taylor. And he was playing then. I mean, working at night in clubs playing, you know.
But see my point? He was touching lives way back then, and yours, and look how many, consequently, look how many.
Like in his house, he always had records. I never had that because I didn't have no money, you know. But he had records, stacks of records like that. He played records all day long, everybody, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He said, listen to this, this is so and so and so, you know. So he pulled my coat to so many different things, you know, when I was, you know, teenager.
Right. And look at what a ripple effect that has had.
Yeah.
You know, so, when you stop thinking of, I tell you, I didn't think about this till O.C. died.
Yeah, well, you know, like then you had to learn in the street because they didn't have no schools teaching jazz in the schools, you know. Jazz was a dirty word. You know, you told somebody you want to be a jazz musician, they think you're crazy. You know? I said, how you going to do that? You can't make a living doing that, you know. So that's the way it was.
But
then you had to learn in the street because you didn't have no jazz schools, you know. Nobody in school knew anything about it, really. Very few people. You know? It just happened that we were lucky because we were in a school that had an orchestra teacher was Mr. Grant, Henry Grant, and he was very modern, you know, and he had taught Duke Ellington, you know. So, you know, he was way ahead of everything, and he always encouraged, you know, people. Like I'd go to his house for a lesson after school, and I may not leave his house at 10 o'clock at night. He'd be telling me all kind of stuff about everything, and he could explain anything to you, theoretically, you know. And he let you know just what it was in the European classical music and what the same thing was in jazz. You know, so you run into people, you're lucky like that, you know. I just happen to be lucky, you know.
Well, that was, I guess you learned through teachers and through your friends, because
well, you had to learn in the street because, you know, if you didn't learn from the cats that were in the street playing, how would you learn? Teachers couldn't.
And they wouldn't let you play jazz in school.
That's right. When I went to Howard University, if they caught you playing jazz, they'd put you out of school. They put you out of the conservatory. So that's where that was, you know.
Yeah, well, in New Orleans, they wouldn't let us play jazz. So
I tell you, it was a bad word, you know.
You wanted to be a jazz musician, don't come near my daughter.
That's right. Just a bad word. Nobody wanted to know about it, you know.
It's so wild.
But now it's in the schools and everybody wants to claim it, you know.
Well, they got a basketball team named, a perfume named Jazz, all of that. It's $1 billion.
Everything you want to sell, name it Jazz. That's it.
Jazz festivals.
So it's, you know, that's what it is.